The new 2000 Robust character is Aizen, so how good is he? Right, so he has 4 skills, Shatter, Despair, Edge of Reason, and Halo 99. Now, a few of these skills are very good, but a few of them are very bad. So if we start with the first one, basically it's really fast, as you can see. Just like Ichigo, you can move around with it, it's instant activation, and you can basically do other moves off it as well. The problem is that yes, it's not like an ongoing move, so you have to wait until the whole move is finished to use another move. For example, if we take Gojo, his third ability, you can use other moves in between. You don't have to wait for the third ability to finish. Now that's very good, but that is not the case with Aizen. As you can see here, I'm spamming my second ability, now I can use the second ability. So it does take a while for you to actually finish the first ability, but otherwise it's really quick on activation, so it's really actually in general it's really quick for dimensions, so it's pretty good for dimensions. The energy gain is pretty low, but the huge problem with this one, if we wait for Kurumi to finish, is the damage. Usually the first ability gets to 3 to 4 million damage. This attack gets to max 2.1 million. That's max damage it gets. If full crits. Usually on average it's gonna be like 1.5 million, and for lower people it's gonna be an average of very low if you don't crits. Because the first ability is really weak. The AoE is okay. I would say the AoE is sufficient, especially for a first ability that's really quick to activate, but the damage is really hurting him. Now in Dimensions, sometimes definitely I can't one-shot them with the first ability, but sometimes this is the problem. I can't even two-shot the enemies with the first ability. Now that's a huge problem. So in Dimensions, yeah, you really need to be lucky, or you're not gonna do well with the first ability. The second ability is a bit better. As you can see here, 20 hit combo. That's like 4.5 million damage. That's really strong. The AoE is also not too bad. It does stay in place for like a square basically in front of you, so you can move around with it. Even if I turn, it only hits these enemies here. But a good thing with the second ability is that, yes, as you can see here, it's not required for it to finish. I can use the first ability basically right after I use the second ability, unlike the first ability. It does take some time, like a second, so that's a bit of a downside, but the first ability is like 1.5 seconds. So both of them have a bit of downtime, which could be a slight problem, because the first ability takes 1.5 seconds, the second ability like 1 second. In raids, when you have Kurumi, you don't want any downtime at all. But we can see later if that actually affects the character. Now, the third ability, Edge of Reason. This attack is really good. First of all, it boosts your speed boost, so you're actually faster while using it. And that's actually really good, because it's like, it's instead of a dash move. But yes, you would rather have a dash move, but now you have a speed boost. The second thing that the third ability does is that it resets the first ability 3 times, or actually 4 times, since you can use it 4 times basically. So if you can see here, I'm gonna use Shatter, and now with third ability, I'm gonna have the first ability back, and now I can spam it exactly 4 times. So that's actually pretty good. It's like Shadow Monarch, it's like Chainsaw Man, it's like Eren, those resets. The damage on this third ability is actually really good. As you can see there, it was like 5 million on full crits. The AoE is also pretty fine. It's not the biggest though. You really can't, in most dimensions, you really won't hit a lot of enemies. You really need to be in the middle. So yeah, it is around you, but you need to be in the middle. Like, AoE isn't too big, it's just sufficient. Like here, that was just because of Kurumi, pretty sure. But if I use the third ability without Kurumi here, okay, never mind. I do hit quite far behind me, but I do know that the multiple times when I did a dimension actually does hurt with not the biggest AoE, but it's not too small, I guess. But it's really good because you're also very much faster with third ability active than you are without the third ability active. So this is actually really fast. So the third ability is a W. You get speed boost, you get a lot of damage, it's like a strong attack. Okay, AoE, and it resets your first ability a lot. So far, the second and third ability are really good. The first ability is really weak. Now the fourth ability is it's not unique. It's like Shadow Monarch, and if you don't know what Shadow Monarch does with his fourth ability, then he gets 100% critical chance. It's the same with Aizen. Hado 99 gives you 100% critical chance, so that's really good. The worse you are, the better this is, because if you have like 10% critical chance, 100% critical chance is going to be amazing. But if you already have like 80, like I have, then it's not going to be as good. But it's still good. So let's see this attack. 100% critical chance. It's 340,000, almost 350,000 per hit here, and there are 40 hits. That's kind of strong. That's 14 million. One good thing about this move that you probably realize is that it's like, okay, so you saw that it's kind of long, but you don't actually have to wait the full attack. You can actually attack in the meanwhile. So basically, what happens is that first you have like a 3-second loading animation. After that, it's like active for 3 or 4 seconds more. And while those 3 seconds, while this ultimate is still active, now you can still get the 100% critical chance. Once this animation goes out, now that's when you don't have 100% critical chance anymore. So you have to utilize the time when the fourth ability is active. So half of the time you're stuck in a loading zone or loading animation, and half of the time you need to spam your moves for 100% critical chance. Now, it isn't actually that long. If you look at this, it's like you're stuck in for like 4 seconds, and then you can move around. That's actually not that slow for a fourth ability, especially since you get 100% critical chance and it's like 40 million damage. It's one of the stronger fourth abilities. So this is actually a really good move, which you should always use. So his moves, the second, third, and fourth abilities are really strong. They're actually really good. But the first ability is really weak, and that's the ability that you can actually use a lot. And another reason why that I'll go on later is that look at the third ability as well. It took like 2 seconds for me to spam my abilities, and the fourth ability around 4 seconds. So if you go back, first ability took about like 1.5 seconds for me to actually use another move later. The second ability took about 1 second for me to use another move. The third ability took 2 seconds, and fourth ability took like 4 seconds. Now a problem with this is if you look at Gojo, for example. If we first take the Kurumi up, okay, here. If we have Kurumi active, you can see that I basically have like all abilities spammable at once. If I get an ability up, I can use it. I don't have like downtime. I have my skills on Gojo are instant, so I can like use them whenever I want to, and I can spam them. Now, a reason why Nezuko, which was the best character for Raid before, fell off when Kurumi Pet came out is because this is not the case. You can see, I already have my skills back. I have a lot of skills, but I can't use them because it's just too slow. The third ability, the second ability, even though they're just like 1 second to use, it's still too slow. That's a problem with Aizen. Even though it's only like 1 second, 1 second, 2 seconds, 4 seconds, even though it's a really short time, it is going to affect Aizen in the long run. But for now, we can check how good he is in raids and dimensions. So in dimensions, he's okay actually. The first ability will not one-shot, no matter what happens, even if you get all crits. It's too weak, and that is a very big downside. The second ability is actually really strong, and third ability is the same. So the second, third, and fourth ability all one-shot enemies, almost guaranteed, even with bad RNG on crits. Well, at least for me. The first ability is the problem though. If it actually, like, sometimes it doesn't even two-shot. Now that's a huge problem for the character. If it doesn't even two-shot the characters, it is really in a bad state. But in general, the other moves are really fine, so it's fine, and the fourth ability actually gives you 100% critical chance, and it does have a speed boost. But either way, it's still, just like I said in the Ichigo video, he doesn't have the potential as other characters. Like I said, just to repeat myself, if you haven't watched that other video of Ichigo, which I recommend you to do, then characters without a dash have a huge disadvantage once it comes to speedrunning later levels, because the more you play and the better you get, the better stuff you will get, and the faster times you can beat dimensions. But some characters that does not have a dash move cannot actually improve their times because they're going to be limited by their movements. Now, Aizen doesn't seem to struggle from this that much because he has a pretty okay speed boost, but still, it's something to keep in mind that Ichigo, the other Roblox character, and for example, like Shadow Monarch, Naruto Beast Mode Awakening, Saber Christmas, are all gonna be better than him because, well, he doesn't have a dash move. And even characters that are worse than him, generally, with this comparison, for example, like Kirito and Levi, they might become better than Aizen later game because there's only there's a cap for Aizen. He can't really improve as much as the other characters with dashes because he's just gonna be too slow, limited by his own movements. Now, Aizen is actually like top 10 in dimensions. And while doing a run with my best stuff, this was my first attempt, so you can definitely get better. I didn't get a much improved time. Like that Aizen time I got without any stuff, with the same gear that I use for every character. Um, he got a really good time. Here, yes, I didn't get a very good time. I think you can get like 15 seconds better if you actually practice. More reasonable, like 10 seconds better. He didn't improve that much, honestly. And it's the same as other characters. For example, like Ichigo, he didn't improve that much because he doesn't have like a good, reliable dash move. And the reason why I use Kirito here, by the way, is just to I will actually have the attack boost for the boss, and I won't have Kurumi active, so that was actually worth it. But anyway, yeah, he's limited by his own movement, so you can't like get so much better times. But for beginners, I think this is actually good because you don't really need that movement. So since he has strong second, third, and fourth ability, and you can get 100% critical chance, Aizen is actually really, really good. I think he might be better than some of the characters that are above him for beginners because he has good moves, really strong moves, except for the first ability, but you can spam it. You have 100% critical chance, you have a speed boost, you don't really need dashes. That's why Goku isn't that useful for beginners, but it's pretty good for late game. So yeah, I do think that Aizen is going to be very good. In general, though, I do think that he could be better if his first ability was better, but his second and third ability always one shot, the first ability 2 shots most of the time, the fourth ability gives you 100% critical chance, so you can actually kill the bosses really quick, you can kill the enemies really quick, and he does have pretty okay AoE for most of his moves, so I wouldn't say that he's bad at all. Like, this time is actually not that bad. I can probably get about 145 if I'm actually practicing, but still, you could probably get better with other characters. By the way, thank you to Durlord, Snowy, and 3Zs for being a beneficial member, and Lee, Zibberbot, Andrew, Matteo, and AimNetting for being in recognition. As beneficial members, you can actually ask me any questions you want, and I'll try to give you a detailed explanation. And you can actually ask me to play with you, but that's only if I actually have the time. Alright, so I thought the Aizen would be very, very good in raids. Now it turns out that I was wrong. So the problems I mentioned when I was in character testing really shows here. The first ability is way too weak. Way too weak. And the second, third, and fourth ability, including the first ability, basically all of his moves, take about a second or two, or even more with the fourth ability to actually finish, so you can use another ability. Now this is a really big problem because that means that you always have like an ability up which you cannot use. If you look in my moves set bar, you will probably always see one skill available to use, well, most of the time at least. And it's not gonna be used because I can't, because it's just cooldown. Now that is a huge problem, and it's the same problem that Nezuko had, which is why she wasn't the best anymore, and why Milim and Gojo is so good. and it's so noticeable here that you can't use all the abilities. And even if you can, the first ability is really weak, and that's the only ability you could actually use a lot of times, so it isn't even that great. Now the 100% critical chance is great, so for beginners that's actually gonna be very, very good. But I don't feel like 2000 Robux is worth just that, because 4000 Robux would give you Shadow Monarch, which is much better, and you also have like other characters that are better without Robux. So I don't think that, yes, sure, this character is going to be really good for beginners, but I don't think it's going to be worth it for the beginner to buy it either way, because it's just you can spend 2000 Robux in a better way. Even Makima would be better. In general, though, that's the main problem Aizen have. Like, the fact that he does not have a good synergy with his moves for Kurumi, that it takes a while. But it also doesn't help that most of his moves doesn't actually give him energy. The third and fourth ability carries him for energy, and you don't actually use M1s because you always have moves to use because you can't use them all. Well, you do use M1s if you actually don't have any moves, but usually you don't get a lot of M1s in. So you don't actually get a lot of energy. You need to rely on the abilities, which do not give you a lot of energy here. So in general, he does not get a lot of energy. He does not like produce a lot of results when he does have the energy bar filled, because of how long it actually takes. Now, Aizen is actually not too bad in raids, despite what I'm saying. Aizen is fine, and you could definitely use him. Now, there is this catch though, that he's like not even top 10. Like a 2000 Robux character that's not even top 10 is quite sad. But he is about top 20. And when I did test him in a monkey raid instead with no assists and the same stuff I tested Ichigo with, it shows that he's definitely not better than like a lot of characters. Even raid characters are going to beat him, because he is not the strongest in raids. It does help that he does not have a dash move, so he could actually be very good in raids where the boss is standing in a place, so you don't have to dash around. It could be good for mobile players, and the fact that that's 100% critical chance. But in general, Aizen is just too slow to actually use very well. But he did get quite a lot of damage, slightly below Ichigo. So about both of them are about tied, and they're both about top 20 in raids. But yeah. So in general, how good is Aizen compared to the other characters? Let's take a look at my spreadsheet then. So basically, Aizen for raids he's not too bad, but he's a bit underwhelming. I did think that he would perform much better, like close to top 10 or even top 10. I did think he was going to be top 10 because of the 100% critical chance and the resets, just like Shadow Monarch. But he just really doesn't perform that well. He's top 20, about the same as Ichigo, even worse than Misaka and Diablo. Goku right now is better than Aizen in raids. But I would genuinely say that Aizen is pretty worth it for... And then Aizen is just slightly the state... And then Aizen is the same as Goku in raids. And then also, Aizen is the same as Goku in Dimensions, so I feel like Goku is more worth than Aizen right now. And Goku is a raid character, though I would say that Ichigo is more worth to buy than Goku. But in general, Aizen is top 10 in Dimensions, but it's really like close that he's not. He's really not the best. He's just carried by his third and second ability, basically, and the fourth ability as well. First ability doesn't even one-shot, so it's not that good. Now, as an assist, he's actually really, really weak. That's also a very big problem, but it does give him 20% critical chance for about 5 seconds. So it's actually pretty good, but awakening assists are just better. Sure, it's 15% critical chance, but it's for 3 times longer duration, 15 seconds instead of 5 seconds. That's the problem with Shadow Monarch as an assist. Why no one uses him is because it's only for 4 seconds that you get 25% more critical chance. So Aizen is not that good as an assist either. So I would say that if you had 2000 Robux and wanted to buy a character, I would buy Makima. She's more limited, she's better as well. And I would honestly say that Aizen is not someone you really need to buy at all. He's not worth the 2000 Robux in my opinion. He's beaten by, for example, Ichigo and Goku, because Goku has more use and assist and basically the same or even better as a main. The only raid character that's limited right now that's probably worse than Aizen is Chainsaw Man or Denji. I would say that Ichigo and Goku are almost better, if not even better, than Aizen. So I do not think that Aizen is worth it. So that's about the showcase. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and see you in the next one.